Hi everybody, welcome back to a brand new video and welcome back to my channel. It's Amy Caroline. It's Amy Caroline again. Welcome back to a brand new vlog. Welcome back to a brand new video. Welcome back to my channel. So, it is time for some more ghost train stories it's time to let the Travel Channel put on a put on another ghost train story for the Travel Channel company and for the Travel Channel. So this book is written by Tony Reevy. This book is written by Tony Reevy, and this book is written by Tony Reevy, and the story that I'll be reading to you guys is the Phantom Wreck of Rossburg. The Phantom Wreck of Rossburg. And it takes place back in the 1900s. And it takes place in Rossburg, West Virginia. And so it takes place back in the early 1900s. Hopefully this will be on the Travel Channel. And hopefully the Travel Channel company will put it on the Travel Channel also. Okay? All right? So now you guys know the reason why I do this, the reason why I keep doing this is because I'm trying to let the Travel Channel company reach out to me and see if they can watch my videos and respond to me to let me know if they can put it on the Travel Channel and put these stories on the Travel Channel. Okay, all right. So that's why I make these videos. Okay. So that way you guys can watch it on the Travel Channel and I can watch it on the Travel Channel also. Okay, all right. So anyway, this is why I do it. This is why I do it here. Okay, all right. So the Phantom Wreck of Rossburg. Here we go. In April of a year in the early 1900s, an eastbound morning Baltimore and Ohio train was going downgrade into a valley near Rossburg, West Virginia. The train jumped the tracks and plunged down a 200-foot embankment. It was a terrible wreck. 7 passengers were killed outright as they slept, and many others were injured, some dying later. The cause of the wreck was never determined. A few years after the wreck, 2 brothers were walking home from a card game at nighttime and passed the scene of the accident. They heard a train whistle in the distance. The 2 brothers knew that no train was due, so they stopped to see if it was a wrecked train or some unscheduled movement. When the train came into view, they were amazed to see that it was an unscheduled passenger train. Suddenly, the train jumped the tracks and fell down the embankment. The wreck was eerie. The men could see the engineer boiler explode and saw the passenger cars burst into flame, but the train didn't make a sound. Even so, the men decided to go for help, but as they ran away, they looked back at the wreck scene. To their amazement, the burning train had disappeared. They ran over to the track and looked down the embankment, but there was nothing there. There was nothing there. Did the ghost of the Roxburgh wreck return? See, there's a picture of the train wreck. There's a picture of the train wreck, and there's the picture of the two brothers walking down the train track at nighttime. Anyway, when you guys put this on the Travel Channel, anyway, when the two brothers were walking home at night from a card game, from like a card game that they just got done playing and stuff, and they were walking home on the train tracks that night, and they were amazed to see that the train was an unscheduled passenger train, and then suddenly the train had jumped the tracks. The train had jumped the tracks and plunged down to a 200-foot embankment, and the men could see the engine boiler explode and saw the passenger cars burst into flames, but the crash didn't make a sound. So the men decided to go for help, but as they ran away, they looked back. The train had disappeared, and they ran over the track and looked down the embankment. There was nothing there. There was nothing there. They back in the early 1900s, there was a train there was a train coming from Baltimore and Ohio to Roxburgh, West Virginia. There was a in the early 1900s, an eastbound morning passenger Baltimore and Ohio train was going downgrade into a valley near Roxburgh, West Virginia, and suddenly the train jumped the track and plunged down to a 200-foot embankment. It was a terrible wreck, and 7 passengers were killed outright as they slept, and many others were injured, some dying later. Listen. When you put Ghost Train on the Travel Channel, please be sure to put this story. Please be sure to put this story on the Travel Channel. And let the Travel Channel company know, let them know that this story has to be on the Travel Channel, and let the story and the people go back in time to the early 1900s, and be sure that it's located in Roxburgh, West Virginia. Okay, all right. So I'm gonna show you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed that story. I am going to show you guys an example from haunted a previous TV show that they used to have a long time ago, Haunted Hotels, and it will give you an example and it will give you an idea of how Ghost Train should look like on the Travel Channel. Okay, all right. You'll see the people going back in time. You'll see the story going back in time, and you'll see the apparitions on the episode appearing on the screen. Okay, all right. So it will give you an idea of how Ghost Train and the Phantom Wreck of Rossburg has to look like. Okay, all right. When it gets on the Travel Channel, you will see of how when it gets on the Travel Channel, you will see of how Ghost Train has to look like when it gets on the Travel Channel. Okay, so watch this, and so watch this, and you will see what I mean. Okay. So please enjoy this.
Staying in old inns or stately homes are sometimes greeted with a ghost story, which can be charming or terrifying, depending on how the spirit moves them, and which room the spectre chooses to haunt. There are hotels in which the supernatural is every day. A hostelry where dead men really do tell tales.
Those eyes, those milky eyes, just kept drawing him in.
A hotel where a phantom's embrace leaves visitors gasping for breath.
It's a spirit that comes from the front and passes right through and leaves them.
And a guest house which is home to a little girl who is 12 years old forever.
She hates lights. She likes it when it's nice and dark.
Explore another side of the distant
You see how
past,
the apparitions are appearing on the screen like this? Well, that's what Ghost Train has to do in the documentary. You see how the ghosts are appearing on the screen like that? Well, that's what the Phantom Wreck of Rossburg has to do. So yeah.
Older cities can be great for weekend breaks. Historic houses, cobblestone streets, comforting reminders of a simpler time. But in a haunted hotel, history really does come alive, and in rather unsettling ways. Nestled among groves of walnut trees, the Snowball Mansion Inn is the pride of Knights Landing, California. According to innkeepers Gerald and James Furing, in the 1870s, this Victorian Italianate villa was the grandest building in town.
Snowball Mansion is a very elegant lady facing the Sacramento River.
A little more than 100 kilometers northeast of San Francisco, this former family home delights guests with comfort and tradition. Its furnishings taken straight from the Victorian era.
We tried to make a guest feel that they were stepping back in time.
The mansion was built to last, constructed entirely from mud brick.
The mud was taken from the river, and it took 5 years for all the bricks to be made. Even the interior walls are brick.
Walls built to last for centuries. Walls that once muted an anguished cry, that now echoes through time. The haunting story of Snowball Mansion began more than a century ago, in the 1870s, when a businessman called John Snowball built this house for his bride, Lucy.
John and Lucy Snowball were very happy together. They spent a lot of their
You see
time-
how the story's going back in time here? Well, this is what Ghost Train has to do. So yeah.
For Lucy, the child was welcome company when John's business took him far from home.
I don't think it was easy for Lucy, and her husband was away on business a lot. So when he returned home, it was a special time for her to spend time with him.
Each time John returned from a trip, Lucy delighted in hearing about his travels. But on one night, this simple pleasure would rob the couple of their greatest joy.
John had just returned from his trip, and Lucy was glad to see him. She went in to spend some time with him after putting the baby down.
Lucy had intended to spend the night in her room next to the nursery, but the long day had taken its toll. She fell asleep beside John instead, listening to stories from his recent trip. Lucy slept peacefully, never dreaming of the dangers this night would hold for her infant daughter.
The walls being brick, they're very well insulated, so noise does not travel in a brick house.
In the morning, Lucy woke up and realized she had slept through the night in a bed far from her daughter's crib.
Yeah.
She immediately ran to check on the baby.
That night, the earthen bricks of their solid, secure home had muffled the cries of their child in the nursery.
That's where she found the baby. John! And the baby was not breathing.
Their daughter had died during the night.
When Lucy found her child dead, she was devastated. She blamed herself for not being in her room to hear the baby.
Lucy laid her daughter to rest, but her grief stayed with her. John struggled to lift his wife out of her sorrow, but the cheerful young woman he had married was gone.
I don't think Lucy ever forgave herself for losing her child. I think she felt guilty her whole life and went into a deep depression that she really never came out of. She stayed home and became a recluse. Lucy spent a lot of time in the nursery. For weeks, they would find her in there, sitting by the crib.
Though she lived into her 70s, Lucy Snowball took her grief with her to the grave. And according to some, even death has not brought Lucy peace. Ghostly events have led some to see her home in a different light. It seems that ghosts are guests who...
Okay, you see how the apparitions, do you see... Do you see how the apparition is appearing on the screen like that in the documentary? Well, so I'm gonna stop right there. I'm gonna go ahead and stop right there. So did you see of how the story went back in time to the 1800s when Lucy Snowball and her husband were doing that? We're doing that stuff. Well, listen. This is what Ghost Train has to do. And now in Ghost Train, when you put Ghost Train and all the ghost and all the Ghost Train stories in the documentary, when you put Ghost Train on the Travel Channel, that is what you have to put. That is what you have to put the Phantom Wreck of Roxburgh, West Virginia has to do. Okay. That is what the Phantom Wreck of Roxburgh has to do too. Okay. The story. You know, like you saw on Haunted Hotels when the story went back in time, and the narrator was telling the story and everything. And the apparitions and the ghost appear and walk around on the screen like that. Well, that's what the Phantom Wreck of Roxburgh West Virginia has to do. Okay, the ghost, the apparition and the ghost of the ghost train has to appear, and the brothers, the two brothers are they're not ghosts. They're not ghosts. They're not ghosts. Okay, they're not ghosts. But they're not ghosts. They're not ghosts though. Okay, but they're not ghosts though. Okay, but put the two brothers walking home at night from a card game on the train tracks, and put the apparition and the ghost of the ghost train appearing on the screen. Okay, appearing on the screen. Okay, when you do that, okay, all right. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed that story and enjoyed the example too. I'll be back later on this afternoon before supper and before dinner. I'll be back later to do some more ghost train stories. And I hope you guys have a good day. Give this video a thumbs up. This will be on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube. Watch my videos. And I will see you guys later. Okay, I'll see you guys later. Okay, bye everybody. Bye.